just regular videos as well. Um, Stop motion um, videos are when you take a whole bunch of sequential pictures, like someone walking down a hallway, for example, and when you put them together right after one another, it creates a scene and it looks like, almost like a video where the image is moving because of the sequential pictures. So, the first thing that I did was storyboard everything out and figure out what I wanted where. I have a little example of this here. I wanted to figure out everything that I needed to do. So since I said mine was to a song, I went ahead and copied the lyrics to the song here in this document, and then I figured out what I wanted done at each section. Some of this repeats, so I did similar things, so it's not all filled out, but it gave me a really good structure to go off of then. Because after you have your basic idea, everything you do is just taking pictures, lots and lots of pictures. So the best thing to do when taking these pictures is, if you have a camera that has this capability, to set it to a high shutter speed. And so that means that rather than you individually clicking each button while the people move a fraction of an inch, you hold down the button and it'll take, rapid fire, all of the pictures that you need. And so it's a lot easier to do, and that's what I did with mine. The second thing that I did was pretty much just take the pictures. It really is, that's the biggest step. It takes quite a bit of time to get it all down. So what I did is I had pictures and I put them in folders over here in iPhoto. So I have all of these pictures. This is just one of the courses in there. So I have all of these pictures. If it'll open. Here we go. And when you play through them, she will move. And it looks like she's, moving, obviously. And then after that, you go through and edit each individual picture, which also takes a significant amount of time. But once you get going, it's really pretty simple. To edit my photos, I used Photoshop. And what I did ended up being difficult Photoshop work. But when you're doing it to, over 100 photos, it's really important that you keep it fairly simple and, get the effect that you want, but don't put too much time into each frame or you will be there forever. I spent several blocks of time at about 2.5, 3 hours each time just editing the photos. So it's, this is not a quick and easy project, but it's definitely worth the time if you're interested in stop motion. For my effect that I did, I waited for Photoshop to load and made a new file here. We'll just save it as that. It's not too important. And I placed an image in here. I also created a folder on my desktop that had, each of the different sections and then an edited folder within those of all the photos that had already been edited. So I'll just go ahead and put in one here that I hadn't edited yet. And what I did was I just put it into Photoshop, placed it. Of course, you have to rasterize the layer here. And then I control clicked and duplicated the layer. And then with this layer here selected, the top layer, I went to Image, Adjustments, and I made it black and white because the effect that I wanted was to have just my main actors or actresses to be in color and everybody else to be in black and white. So I went ahead and just made this image black and white. And if you notice, if you go over this with the eraser, it erases the black and white photocopy, and you're left with a colored one that's underneath. So I erased all of Jessica here, so that from the black and white image, I'm not going to do a real good job on here, but just went around her with the eraser, all of her. And then you can kind of see if I hide this colored image, this is what I've erased, was this. So it's not in the black and white image anymore. I'm just removing one layer. So then I wanted to maybe make her pop a little bit more, so I went ahead and applied a filter on the colored one, so you make sure it's highlighted. And the one that I ended up going with was poster edges. And so it gives it kind of a cartoon look there. And see, now everybody's in color, but it'll just apply to the bottom layer. So now she's in color. And then I exported this and just saved that as one of my images, so that I had that image of Jessica. Next, I put all of these photos, I edited each one individually and put them in their respective folders, so I was organized. And then I put all of them in iMovie. And this part was a little tricky. It wasn't quite as time consuming as editing each photo, but I put them into iMovie and then tried to get all of the timing down correctly with the music, since mine was a music video. So that was pretty tricky. You know, each segment had to be a certain number of seconds so that it would fit with the music, since it was supposed to tell a story. And here you can notice all of the, this is my other actress, all of the different effects that I did. And then when I got to the chorus, I didn't want too much from the first one. And here's the images that I was showing you earlier from what I did. And I just went ahead and made them all, tried to keep them all the same time frame so it didn't look too choppy, but sometimes I had to adjust a little bit. And then I had my credits at the end. So here's, I'll just show you the last little bit of mine so that you can see how the effect turned out in the end. That was the end of mine. For the beginning, I did a little bit of a different thing here with different letters that I drew on paper and then laid them out separately one at a time to give it kind of an interesting title. So that's how I created my stop motion, and the best of luck with yours.